Your flags can do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Okay, so it sounds like no one got the meeting minutes, so I can move that to the next agenda so that people can have time to review those. Quickly, I wanted to see if I have the email list here so people can verify. Or you're like getting meetings minutes from like the town moderator and stuff, right?
Yeah.
For some reason. Okay, I'll try and figure it out.
I have some sort of meeting. What I have my minutes. Yeah, I have the minutes.
So you're getting my emails. Okay.
I think I get minutes too.
Yeah, so this is the email I sent out last Wednesday. Can everyone just look to see if their email address looks right on it, if you didn't get it?
Yeah, that's correct. Was it January 28th?
So, my email's not on there.
Oh, well, that could be why you're not getting them. Which, you have a couple saved in there. Which one do you want to use?
The one is correct on it. It's LarrySauer77@gmail.com.
Okay. Everyone else's email address looks good though?
Yeah, that's correct, but it didn't come through.
Okay. I tried to do it as, like, the whole group is added as a group, and maybe it didn't like it like that. But, so I'll just send them individually. Okay.
If we don't have anyone online, can you put the agenda up since I don't have it to work off of? It'll help me with
Yeah.
minutes. Just to organize things quickly, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll, Carmel has asked to, step down as secretary, doesn't have time to do notes. Is there anyone willing to be our secretary? Come on, it's a lot of fun. I guess I can't force you to do it. No one? No takers? Larry's wavering, I can tell.
Yeah, well, I want to make a suggestion.
Okay,
Did you put it on to take the notes?
I didn't. But then I'm just gonna have to fix all the notes anyways, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I can keep doing it, but maybe after the organizational meeting, we can impress
good,
upon
yeah.
someone new. And
Okay.
just, I will do my best to get them to you, but
It is what it is.
If I have a transcript, then I don't mind correcting, but I'm a terrible note taker.
Okay, so let's maybe, why don't we see how the transcription works? And who knows if it's gonna be terrible or not, because I don't know how much we'll pick up each of our voices in a group, so. We'll test it out with this one, and I can email it to you, and then you can see if it's gonna be works. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I haven't used the Google one, but like Zoom does a pretty good I mean, you still have to make some corrections, but it does a pretty good transcript.
But I think that works better because it can tell who's speaking, as opposed, because you're all individual screens, as opposed to all of us in a room.
Yeah, but I've used it for a hybrid
Oh,
meeting
okay.
too. I mean, you do have to go in and correct it.
Okay. Next is citizens requests and comments, and we don't have any. So let's go to committee member comments. Want to go around circle? Larry, you got anything?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Nothing to say.
Okay, sounds great. Okay, so we were gonna pick up where we left off on quorum as an issue overall. And so one thing I did was I put together a list of every committee I think we have, and I'm just gonna pass it around as we talk. And if you guys see any committee that's not listed on here, add it on here so that we can, I'll then go in and figure out who's the chair of every committee and email them when we figure out this is the meeting we wanna discuss this all. But this is what I could find on the website, so anyone who would be affected if we changed the definition or defined quorum. So, while we're talking, we wanna look at that. And then where we left off, last time is we had two kind of suggestions. Let's go to the notes so it's right here. So suggestion one, for the purposes of town meeting, a quorum is defined at 50% plus one of the currently serving members. In the event there's an odd number of currently serving members, the 50% number is rounded down to the nearest whole number. And then suggestion two, for the purposes of town business, quorum is defined as any number that exceeds 50% of the currently serving members of that body. Does anyone have any thoughts, or one they like better than the other, or anything else we think we need to tweak about either?
I didn't make it clear in there, but I think that we had settled on suggestion 2 as
Okay.
the preferred language, since it's more straightforward.
Okay.
I think that's a simple
Yep.
one.
Is there anything that you think could be confusing for people that we want to define while we're at it? I like that it says currently serving members. We just think we just nailed it in one shot.
I think that's at least what we should go to, bring forward to the other committees and
Okay.
see if they think that that's not clear enough
Okay.
for their own business.
And so how do we want to do this? I mean, I can send out an email to say, hey, we're looking at adding a definition to the charter that would affect you. Here's what the definition would be if you would like to input on it. This is what our next meeting is. Is that how we feel like we should go for it, or I don't know how to approach other committees about it.
Yeah, I would just tell them what it is,
Yeah.
that we're making a change in defining quorum, trying to have an across-the-board definition for all town business.
Okay.
And we invite their participation and feedback.
Excellent. Do we want to invite them to the meeting in March right before the election when we're inviting people who might have election questions, or do you want to push that to the next meeting after that?
We'll do that in separate meetings
Okay.
to minimize confusion.
And whether suggestion 1 or 2, is it necessary for town council to review the exact verbiage? Are we gonna be?
Well, he will before it goes into
Okay.
the warrant.
Okay.
But I mean, maybe it does make sense to ask him, we'd hate to have everybody review ones and talk about them and then for him to say, that won't work.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
this is the first I've heard of it.
Right, it makes sense to have the conversation with him before having the conversation. Make sure that we have something workable before we
Got it.
bring it to other people. So, are we saying that will probably be in an April meeting?
Yeah, so this is our February meeting, and we're doing a March meeting. Is that's towards the end of March, because we wanted to get it in before the election. So yeah, so we wanna do it in an April meeting. So we're meeting on March 30th, so it probably would want to be a few weeks after that.
Same time, shoot for 7:45.
Yeah, so
Okay,
can you
I'll
tell
see
me
you
what
at
the
8.
April dates are?
6th, 13th, the 20th is a holiday, 27th, then we start to get into town meetings, so
Well, yeah, so it feels like
either,
it's gonna be, probably not the 1st, because we'll have a meeting on the 30th, so we wanna have a little break.
So,
13th.
Does 13th work for everyone? April 13th.
April 13th.
Same time?
Yeah, April, that's 7:45.
The clerk's gonna ask me how many people I think are gonna show up to this meeting. How many people do you think from these committees will actually show up to this meeting?
2.
Okay, so this room,
That's
with the
just my gut
Fitzpatrick
feeling.
room,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
think would be fine?
Yeah,
Okay,
that seems reasonable.
okay. Okay, anyone have any other thoughts on quorum before we move on? Sounds good. Okay, next is preliminary elections, and I did reach out to the town clerk about it, and I explained we want to change this section, but we wanted to make sure it's a section we could change. And I explained the history about how it was added in the 90s and then changed in 2009. And he said, I'm not sure I completely understand, but I don't believe this section would require an elected charter commission to be changed. I think it's in the charter review committee and town meeting's power to amend. So,
Okay.
and then I tried to schedule a phone call to clarify, but we didn't get there. So, so yeah, sounds like we've got the power to at least make the recommendations, or at least he thinks we do. So, we talked about. So right now it's in. Should I pull up the charter? Would that be helpful?
Sure.
That was April 13th, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
8-2, right? Yep. 2. Okay, so this is the section right now. So you guys weren't here, so I'll just give you a little summary. So Stoughton requires a preliminary election if, and this is not for town meeting reps, but any other position, if more than 3 people are running for 1 seat. And I guess this provision was added to the charter in the 90s. And then it used to be 2 per seat, and then it was changed in a town meeting in 2009 to be 3 seats. And so it's actually happening this year for the first time since it was changed in 2009. There are 7 people running for 2 spots on the select board. So we're having a preliminary election in February, and then the top 4 people will go on to the main election in April. But what's weird about it is if only 6 people were running, all 6 of them would get to the main election in April. But because there's 7, only 4 of them do. And so we're talking about, is this a good use of town money to have this election? Is it, and some, I guess the concerns were, it costs more money for people to run because they have to essentially run 2 campaigns. They have to get their sheets in so early, and if there wasn't an option for a preliminary election, then the deadlines would be later in the year, which I think would incentivize more people to run. Or do we think it's, and I think the pros for it were that it can kind of like split parties or split people, and so this kind of like consolidates it down. You don't want to have too many people on the ballot. From my perspective, I don't think it's a bad thing if we have 7 people on the ballot. And like, I like that people are getting involved, but so this is something we had talked about a little bit last time, but we weren't sure if we had the power as a charter review to make any recommendations on it or not. But town council seems to think we do. So we didn't really talk about what we would do. It's just a matter of can we do something? And I guess now is the time to figure out like what would we want to recommend. And then Robin, did you say we were only one of like a few towns in the whole state?
We looked into it back in, I don't know what it was, probably late 90s, early 2000s. At that point, there were only 8 towns. Cities are another thing. Some of the cities do have it. But there were only 8 towns in the entire state that had preliminary collections. So, and that was, I say, way back.
And we think that the cost of an election is around $10,000. So if we were like making this a scratch, would we have them? Would the number be higher? Would the deadlines be different? Like what makes it like the most accessible? I think is probably what I would be concerned with. Like,
So, I'll just say, my concern with, if we had 7 people run, somebody could be elected to the select board with significantly less than a majority vote. So that's a concern to me, is that, somebody might be with 30% of the vote getting to hold an office.
okay. So you're in favor of preliminary elections. Are there any terms that you would like to change in them?
Well, actually, what I had suggested last time is a ranked choice
Yeah.
voting, which eliminates the need for the preliminary election, but kind of by process of elimination, it gets down until somebody gets more than 50% of the vote, they're not elected.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else have thoughts or what they think?
I mean, what I've been reading about ranked choice voting is it opens up for a lot of errors, and there's a lot more work going into it, and it opens up for errors and for the wrong people to get elected.
So when you say errors, what kind of errors?
Just through the process, it's more cumbersome. And just based on what I've been reading up about it.
But like, do you say cumbersome for the clerk to evaluate them or for the people to fill them out?
Just the election and the process, the whole process in itself, it makes it more complicated.
I guess I think, but for who? For the clerk or for the person voting?
For everyone.
For everyone, basically.
Okay.
And it in some cases gives an unfair advantage.
Okay. In what way?
In I mean, just
I haven't done research, so I'm not like, I've
No,
done no
it's
research
fine.
on ranked choice voting. I've never ranked choice voted, so like, I'm just interested to hear what people think about it.
It's not used often because of the issues that come up in it.
Okay.
And I mean, like I said, I have a cheat sheet here that I was reading up about it, and just looking through different towns and different cities. It's not used that often because of that.
Okay. Yeah, I know, it's definitely like growing in popularity. It wasn't something that people really did like 20 years ago. Okay, did you see any towns or committees around us that do it in your research?
No, not too many locally.
Okay,
I think the city of Cambridge has been using it for a very long time
okay,
in Massachusetts, and it might even be more than 20 years.
okay. Do you know of any other ones around here that do
That's
it?
the only one I know of. There probably are others, but I don't know. But I know Cambridge has been forever.
Okay,
I believe Lindsay was gonna collect more information, but I have a suspicion that she didn't get the email about the meeting, so.
I would start a text thread, but if I start it, you're not allowed to talk to each other on it because that violates open meeting. So if I send out a text thread like on a Sunday reminding you of it, would that be okay? But none of you can respond because then I'm violating open meeting, right? If I have like a communication with everyone. Maybe I'll send everyone an individual text on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't think if people responded and said, I'll be there,
Okay,
because that's not deliberating.
okay,
Yeah, that's okay.
okay, great, okay.
It's if somebody said, I'll be there and I'm gonna
Vote for this, or,
vote for
okay,
this,
whatever.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, does anyone think that we can do preliminary without ranked choice? Is there another way to do it? Is 3 a weird threshold? Anyone know that it's ever been used for anything other than the select board in this town? I mean, it doesn't sound like it, but,
I don't know how
When
many.
it was 2, there were quite a few
yeah,
preliminaries.
okay. And that's why they upped it to 3
That's why they
so
upped
often?
it to 3, and then we never had one until now.
Okay,
But the turnout was hideously bad.
yeah. Yeah, turnout in general was not great.
Yeah, and you're probably gonna have it for preliminary.
Yeah, on school vacation week too.
There are early voting hours the whole week before school vacation
Yeah.
week, so that's important
That is-
to let people know.
Okay, anyone have any other, yeah?
I just want to ask,
Yeah.
anybody that knew about ranked choice voting, is that like each person, like if there were 5 people running, everybody would get, that person would be evaluated as first, second, third, fourth, or fifth?
Yeah, so if I was
And then
saying I was voting on these 3 and
Yeah.
I'm gonna go, this is my first, this is my second, and my third, and so then everyone who votes Larry for 1,
Oh,
they go to see,
Oh,
what percent, this is my understanding of it. If Larry reaches over the threshold, then he's in, but if he doesn't, then they go down to like everyone's 2s, and
Just-
then like,
it sounds cumbersome, very cumbersome as far as, keeping track, but I mean, there's a lot of numbers involved.
but
But I don't
the
know,
computer does it.
I've never done it, so it's
It's
hard to
done.
know how it
Yeah.
would work
But like
out.
as a voter, I think if you would literally go in and say, here's my order.
Mhm.
So I think this is something we'd have to talk to the clerk about, like, how does the software work on her end? Like, is this a add-on to her package? Like, does she have access to be able to do that? Like, I don't know how the technology works.
I did a demonstration
Okay,
years ago, and I used ice cream flavors, for example. And you had 5 different ice cream flavors. And if nobody gets 50, you drop the lowest one, and you distribute all of that person's votes to the other 4 candidates.
Equally?
No,
No,
based
No,
on
it's
the ranks.
Based on their ranking.
You know,
So
Whoever they
all
had
their number 2s
yeah,
basically get distributed.
right. And it keeps on doing it until it'll force eventually somebody to have majorities.
So in essence, your votes can go to somebody you don't really want to vote for.
well, so you don't have to rank
Right.
choice. You can just vote for 1, you don't have to fill in all the other spots.
Right.
Yeah.
But at least your vote's not being total. If you vote for somebody who comes in number 5, then whoever you voted for number 2
Yeah.
would get their votes. So at least they would have some say in who, who gets elected.
Right, but I mean, just for myself, I'm not speaking for anybody else. If I'm voting for somebody, I want my vote to go to them, and if it doesn't, not to go to anybody else.
Well, then you wouldn't rank choice.
Right,
You
then
would
you would
just rank
only
one.
select your
Yeah.
vote.
You can just pick
Yeah.
one.
But
Oh,
at least your second choice has a chance.
You don't have to vote for all of the candidates. You can vote for
Up to.
the ones that you want to vote for. So you could you could vote for all of them. You could have your least favorite candidate be seventh choice. But if you didn't want that person at all, you could just not put their name on there. So I think it would be confusing. I think people get confused by vote for not more than 7.
Right.
I think that's confusing to people.
Especially if
Because
there's
we're
like
not
6 on
used
there.
to it. We're not used to how that goes. But I don't think the concern of it going to someone who you wouldn't want to vote for, that because you just wouldn't vote for them. So they wouldn't get any vote from you.
But it's not just me, it's everybody else. If you go ranked choice, someone could get voted in by just pure chance because of the people making that selection versus what's being done now.
See, if you do it now, you could have somebody get in with 30% of the vote, which means 70% of the people don't want them in there. But because they got the plurality, they would get into office. And I think that's the concern and why ranked choice was developed, so that people that were had the most support of the voters.
What is the primary reason for Stoughton wanting to switch the way the voting process is now?
To be clear, it's not Stoughton, it's just, we're talking about possibilities. Like, it's this group of people.
I think one of the factors, though, is the cost of having the preliminary election, like you
Okay.
said, is like
Yeah.
$10,000 of taxpayer money, for a preliminary election. Whereas I think if you do the ranked choice voting, it's not going to be that much. There's probably an initial cost for the software to do it, and then from there it's pretty simple. I'm not an expert on it, but
I just think it's a weird situation where if 6 people were running, we wouldn't have them. But because we have that one extra person, we have an entire other election where we have
Can
to
we
pay
just
poll
ask them not to run?
workers and like.
It's unlikely you're gonna get in, Al, it's,
Yeah.
I'll give you can we get like a GoFundMe together for the guy?
it's like 10 grand, trying to spoil this.
Who's to say which of those 7 people it is that's the spoiler?
Collectively, we can decide that. We have the power. So I'm gonna read, this is
I
real
think
quick.
that falls out of our scope.
Well,
today.
My friends at Perplexity, here's some main pros to ranked voting. Reduces spoiler effect and wasted votes. Voters can rank a long shot favorite first and a major candidate second, so that ballot can still help choose between front runners and their second choice. Promotes majority support. The winner typically has more than 50% of the votes in the final round, rather than just polarity. Encourages more sincere voting and more candidates. People can vote for actually who they like without as much strategic calculation, which also can make it easier for new or unrepresented voters to run, voices to run. Can reduce negative campaigning. Candidates have an incentive to be accepted as second or third choice, which can discourage all-out attack in campaigns. May replace separate runoffs in places that used to hold separate runoff elections. RCV, which stands for ranked choice voting, can fold that into one higher turnout election, saving time and sometimes money.
So they get prawns?
Oh, yeah. The show's
Oh,
not
zero.
over. So more complex for some voters, as we can see. Ranking multiple candidates and understanding the count rounds can be confusing, especially for infrequent voters or in crowded fields. 7 might be that, right? Ballot exhaustion and disenfranchisement concerns. If a voter does not rank many candidates or all of their ranked candidates are eliminated, their ballot becomes exhausted and stop counting in later rounds, which Critics argue means some voters lose their influence in the final decision. Candidates with the most first-choice votes can lose. Because of transfers and eliminations, the initial front-runner and first-choice votes may be defeated, which in some see as an unfair, even if the eventual winner has a broader overall support. Administrative costs, slow results. Counting and auditing RCV elections requires more complex tabulation systems and can delay final results, especially in larger jurisdictions. Transparency and trustworthiness. Multi-round counting process is harder to verify by hand and less intuitive to the public, leading some groups to argue it reduces trust or creates more room for perceived manipulation, even if the system is sound. It's a little bit of bone. And I went with perplexity rather than chat, because I like perplexity for some stuff like that.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I'm on the fence. I can see arguments for both. You know, I don't like that it says that the front runner may be bounced out.
Yeah.
You know, if that person was the front runner, you know, that kind of is an issue.
I have concerns about people's ability to do ranked choice voting. I think that comparing Cambridge to Stoughton is like a little. We're not Cambridge. And like, I think everyone's moving towards ranked choice voting, and we will get there eventually. But I don't know that Stoughton needs to be the leader to get there. But like, I'm not set in stone on it. Like, let's.
Yeah, I guess I have enough faith in the voters of Stoughton that they can understand this.
Right.
Even under the current situation, with 7 people on the ballot, the person who comes in first can have like 20-something% vote anyhow.
Yeah.
I mean, you're splitting it 7 ways. Well, there'll be 2 people out of 7,
Yeah.
that would be elected, but we're still gonna have no matter what you do, first of all, we're gonna have a very, very low turnout. We have low turnouts anyhow. We're gonna have a very low turnout, and then, so 200, 300 people can decide it.
If we don't go ranked choice, is there anything that people would want to change about the language in the current preliminary? Like, why does it need to be 49 days? Is it because they have to print the ballots? Because it takes 45 days to give us results? Because we normally know at like 20 minutes after the election practically. I feel like
We
results
can
are
count
something.
200 ballots by hand.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's the issue. Like, I'm wondering, because I think part of the problem is because it's such, it's 7 weeks before the main election, that means people have to get their, sheets in, papers in. I mean, like, what is the deadline? It feels like it's so early.
December 31st, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a long time before.
Compared to February for the town meeting papers.
Yeah. So.
It's a month and a half. It's a month and a half earlier than the other papers.
But like that means you're also trying to get your papers in December, like the darkest month of the year when everyone is like out Christmas shopping and you're trying to like knock on people's doors or like, I think people are out and about a lot in December, but like probably not in the mood to talk to you about their like select board members as opposed to other times of the year.
I think the 7 weeks is, verifying signatures and printing that, whatever, and then you have,
No, but they would have already verified signatures, right? Because this is between the two elections.
between the preliminary and, I don't know why, it's just that the charter says 49 days, and
I know.
so you're just multiplying the 49 days with 2 possible elections, so, but you're right, it probably doesn't need to be 49 days.
Yeah, I mean, it is, as this shows, technology that we have now, like counting the votes, shouldn't be a huge issue. I think that time can be shortened between the two.
So I mean, I think that's something we can ask the clerk about, like, how long does she need? Because I feel like from like, when we have the election in April, like, we all know the results that night. And then she's notifying people and swearing people in. So I'm just thinking, is it like, is there some kind of certification process that has to go through the state before, between a preliminary and
I think so. I think the clerk needs to certifies.
Does anyone know why we have preliminary elections rather than runoffs? So they serve a similar purpose, and what you were reading about runoffs, I was like, oh. Preliminary elections force us to do this. Runoffs would address the issue of people being elected with a low, or having the highest number but having it be relatively low. Which, let's say we have 7 candidates and 2 of them, they each, get, let's say 2 of the candidates each get 50% and no one votes for any of the others, you know what I mean? Like, this forces an election when the situation that it's trying to prevent is not guaranteed, versus a runoff which deals with the situation that this is trying to prevent when it happens, but doesn't stop it from happening by going through this. Do you
So
know
I've
what I
never
mean?
done a runoff. How does a runoff work? Like, if there's no one gets 50%, or,
Yeah.
and then the top however many people run off?
Yeah.
Okay. But that would have to move the entire town election up earlier so that you'd have time to do that before town meeting, right?
I don't know, do you have to have your select board and school committee candidates before town meeting?
No, because a lot of towns, I know the town of Sharon, which I think in some way does it the right way, actually elects their select board and their school committee. They have their town election after town meeting. And so the people who are presenting the budget are actually, like, right now, we could have a new moderator or whatever at an election. At town meeting, having only been in office for a few weeks, that they don't know the budget, they don't know what's going on, whereas if you have incumbents, doing it, it's better.
I 100% think this is the way we do it is the same, so that makes sense to me.
I won't put that in the minutes.
Thank you. It's being recorded and on Smack.
Redacted.
But no, but I mean, the first time that the moderator switched over, like when I joined, and I was like, he gets like 2 weeks, like that's it before.
Well, at least it's a 2-year term now. A
Yeah.
1-year term was madness to like rerun for that every year without
Yeah,
getting a chance to know what you're doing.
yeah. I didn't realize that Sharon did it that way.
Sharon does, yeah, they have town meeting for them is over in 1, maybe 2 nights, which is obviously a difference from us, but their election is like the 3rd week of May.
Interesting. I feel like that's a different issue, but I feel like it's worth talking about because it does. Again, like, okay, so right now we have 2 people on our select board who, are they 2, both incumbents looking to run? I know Deborah Roberts is.
Yeah, Lou's not running
There's
again.
not.
Okay. So, at least someone is gonna get elected who had no part in any of the budgeting, and then be up there presenting this budget to us. Which, I mean, luckily we have a town manager who will mostly handle the budget presentation, but still, that's interesting, because then it kinda could solve the runoff problem as well. Trying to not get like a runoff in a minute or 2,
In many years, we've had school committees who just, 2 new people on the school committee,
there, like, what is the room's feel for, like, looking into a runoff as opposed to a preliminary? Is that something that people think makes sense, or?
Yeah,
I feel like it would be interesting to get more information about both ranked choice voting and, preliminary versus runoff. Just to have a larger conversation about those options.
I can do some research. Anyone want to like say like, yes, this is the thing I will do some research on for next time? Yeah?
yeah.
Okay, great. I think that would be helpful to like get more information on our topics and I can ask, should I,
Preliminary versus runoff and impact with ranked choice vote.
yeah, or like, what a, and I guess like, are people doing runoffs? Like,
City of Boston does for theirs.
okay. So we can bring this back on our March date. You want me to ask the clerk if someone from the clerk's office can come that night to maybe answer some questions about like, do they have the software for this, or do you want me to just have a conversation with someone? I don't necessarily want to like, I feel like it's a bad week to ask them because we're like, hey, remember that giant election you guys are planning for right now? Like,
Yeah.
can I take a night of your time?
Yeah, I don't think it's time sensitive. This is not gonna be
Right.
like
Okay.
a thing we need to do by X date. It
Okay.
seems like it even could wait until the summer as a conversation.
Okay, sounds great.
Because I'm also curious about the timing after what Robin said that other towns do it differently, like, I'm just gonna rewrite the whole charter, but, but why do, I mean, I'm sure we do that because that's the tradition, but what would the town clerk say about the rationale for the timing of those elections, other than it's what's in the charter? I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of issues. I think this is an issue that would potentially be interesting to other members of the town and the public. It seems like if we had conversation, presentation of information around these issues,
Okay, so maybe for next time, I'll take my homework assignment as to look into what the order of other towns are doing, so that we can see like who's doing what, and how far in advance they're doing one versus the other. Because we are an anomaly in that our town meeting takes so long. Because we'd have to have it like a full month ahead of time, right? You gotta give like 8 nights. Whereas like most towns are like 1 to 2, so it's like a week. So I think like if we were doing it in the reverse order, it might.
We probably have to have an earlier town meeting.
Yeah.
Or either that or figure out a way to shorten it.
Is there any reason that this would be a potential savings as well, to have the election at the November, the first Tuesday in November? So that it's distant from the town meeting. It can be combined with other elections when there are, state or federal elections.
Usually every other year.
Yeah.
Are there towns that anyone knows of who don't do their elections in the spring?
Yeah, any town that's.
Not Stoughton?
I clearly don't pay attention to other
Places
towns.
that have town councils, which technically is a city government, but they still call themselves towns, like Bridgewater, Randolph, Braintree. Those are all, they do their elections in November.
Okay.
Every other year, they do the odd number of years. In other words, like Brockton just elected a mayor this year. I'm not saying we should go towards a mayor or anything like that, but what I'm saying is it is done, I don't know if it's done in many towns that have town meeting, but.
Yeah.
But I think it would be good, because people would have time to be in office, do the budget, et cetera.
It might be harder in November for like the committees, like our committee. If we're like, although I guess it really wouldn't matter for us, but if you're in November and we've got a December special town meeting or a November special town meeting, that could be like hard. I don't know, we can look into it. See what other towns are doing. I have a list of every town that has like a representative town meeting, so I can see what they're doing. Okay. Any other thoughts about, like, do we like the number 3 if we're staying with preliminary? Like, is that something that people, it already got changed from 2 to 3? Should we?
It feels pretty reasonable given that it hasn't happened in 15 years. I mean, if this was happening every year, then that might be different, but it doesn't seem like a big enough change to go through the work of trying to up it to 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
That I don't think would give us as much as something like going to a runoff or changing the whole timing or something like that, or even reducing, if it's possible, to reduce the time between the preliminary and the general election. Right, I think those are more meaningful changes than shifting that number seems like it would be.
Although if you went to 4, it never happened.
You never know. Anything could happen.
Yeah, the problem with, even 3 is you can have somebody elected with 34% of the vote. So with support of 1/3 of the voters.
Can you explain that to me?
So if there are 3 people running for 1 seat,
And we don't have our preliminary because we're not
and you
triggered.
don't have a
Well,
preliminary.
no, this is more than 3. So right now, if we had 3 people running for a seat, we wouldn't have a preliminary election.
Okay.
Which,
So
to me,
you could
that's
get
a pro-
elected
that's a
with
problem.
34% of the vote. But because of the preliminary, it's kind of weird because you could get elected with 26% of the vote to one spot and someone else gets,
25.
25, they get the other spot. Because you don't, like, we don't say these 2 people are for select board position A and these 2 are for select board B, we're putting them all in a pool. I don't know how to fix that.
Yeah, but people do get 2 votes.
We get 4.
for select-
But he's talking about the act, the.
No, on
Oh,
the preliminary.
On the
you get
preliminary
Well,
to
it's
get 4.
preliminary.
Sorry.
So the top 4
But
go
it's
on
still
the
the
final
same
ballot.
percent, right? I mean, I guess I can't vote for the same person twice, but like, if everyone,
Well,
half of the people say I want these 2 and half of the people say I want these 2, everyone's ended up around 25% and 2 people are winning.
well, I don't, not really, because there are, because there are twice as many votes, because people voted for 2 people.
Yeah.
So,
But you can't vote for the same person twice.
right, right.
So like, whatever the pool of divided votes are, it's, whoever
Yeah.
has the highest percent, and it could be split pretty
Yeah.
evenly, like if it was a close election.
Okay.
Um, Whereas like if it was like a year where there was only one select board position, then I think this is like the ideal way to do it. It makes sense, that person will have to get a majority. but it's kind of weird in a year where we're filling 2 seats.
Well, no, but then with one seat, that's what Larry was saying, with just over 1/3, you get the seat, that's not the majority.
Yes, I think I was saying like if it was a year where we had like 4 people running, we needed to do a runoff. We get down to the 2 and there's only 1 seat open,
Sure.
and someone has to get a majority, which I think is what it was designed to do. It's
Yeah.
just
But because, like you said, it's not seat A and seat B,
yeah.
so that you can,
So it doesn't sound like in the rare. Yeah. I don't know my like select board history enough. Does most of the time, or is the person getting elected with 50% of the vote? Like when we're electing 2 people, they obviously.
Not necessarily.
yeah, I don't, because we usually have at least 3 candidates, 3 or 4 candidates for 2 seats.
Well, I would have looked up last year's election.
Because I mean, I think that the idea was, hey, we don't want people with a what's the word I'm trying to look for?
Plurality?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Plurality. We want someone to have a majority, but it turns out we're electing people by plurality all the time. Then
Most of the time it's a plurality.
Yeah, I guess technically when there are 2 seats, even though you have 2 votes, when you do break down from the total vote, it is less than majority.
just because we're not assigning them, so like people aren't getting assigned to seats, which I think is the hard part. How many select school committee seats is it 2 every time?
It's 2, 2, and 1, like select board, because they have 5.
Okay.
So do you know how many they have open this time
2 seats and there's 3 candidates, I believe.
for school board?
And that doesn't get whittled down this election, correct? Like
No.
we have the election on the
No,
17th.
it's only gonna be
Right.
select board.
So 17th will only be select board.
Yeah, they would have had to also have 7 running to have had to also be on the preliminary.
That'd be intense.
4 running for 1 seat, that would have triggered it too.
And we have 2 incumbents and 1 new person on the school committee. Do we know?
I think 1 incumbent and 2.
Yeah, I think that's right.
One
I know
incumbent
Chris
and
is
2.
running.
Yeah, Chris
I
Shannon.
think who the other ones are.
Yeah, the other 2 are not. There's Laura Callis, I think,
Yeah.
and
Someone texted me today.
I don't know, not remembering that name.
And Callis, I know.
As long as we know that one by April, we're good.
Okay, so is there anything else anyone wants to like go over for preliminary elections, or things would be helpful to know for next time?
Do we want to have it do we want to discuss it again at the next meeting, or do we want to have a meeting really devoted to this and be able to advertise that? Because the next meeting, we're gonna advertise to the public really as,
Okay.
come and talk to us about what's on the ballot.
So do we wanna
I-
bump,
people like to talk about elections. It could be an interesting meeting if people actually, people have very strong opinions about elections, whether they will know about our meeting and come and talk to us about what they think. I cannot speak to that, but I know that if you mention processes of elections to almost anyone, they will have something to say about it.
okay, so would we wanna put this on the same meeting as we're inviting all the chairs to discuss quorum? Or do we want to, push it to a meeting after that?
Do it in its own, especially if we have any chance of getting anybody to like come in and present to us about these things. I don't know, I feel like with things that aren't pressing, it's helpful to have an overall like one major topic at a time.
Okay, so we're not doing a May meeting, this will be in town meeting, so the next time we'll be looking to discuss this is June. We can maybe set that date come April so that it's not so far out, and people can kind of plan a little bit better. Unless people know what they're doing 4 months from today.
What will also be good is we'll have all the results from the elections and have preliminary blends.
Yeah, see how many people
and
actually
compare
voted.
the preliminary
Uh-huh.
results with the final results and turnouts and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, case study.
Robin, I'm assigning you as a homework then. You're bringing in election results for us, okay?
Okay.
Okay. How do we want to advertise for our open house for questions? I mean, I can post on like student enthusiasts.
Town crier. That internal thing that gets sent out that I ignore.
Oh, no, like that.
Roberta Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Just not in a bad way, honestly.
Right, it's a lot of emails,
Yeah.
I hear you.
Today's email though was about the Stoughton Depot, which I was excited to see that. They invited all the town meeting members to like come and check it out later in the month. I want to see what it looks like inside.
I didn't get that.
Okay, well then I feel a little less bad. It's not me that you're just not getting emails. Yeah, it went out to all town meeting members. I think it's at the end of the month on a Saturday, from like 10 to 11 to like get to walk through the, what is it called, the community center? At the
Yeah.
Old Town.
I actually spoke to one of the organizers there
Uh-huh.
a while back when they were still getting it together.
I'm excited to see what it looks like inside.
Do you know who it came from?
Is there a set way of setting up the next meeting? I mean, is it like the third?
So the next, our next meeting is on March 30th
Oh, I
in
can't
this
share
room at 7:45.
You came today?
So that's all I need to know.
Kelsey Lynch at 2:11 I got it, and it looks like at the bottom it's to the town meeting rep like service list.
Who did you say it was from?
Kelsey Lynch, communication
Kelsey.
coordinator.
I don't get to either.
I wonder if,
I didn't get that.
Yeah.
2:30 this afternoon?
2:11 I got it, and it says Saturday, February 28th from 10 to 11.
Nope.
Save the date. Exclusive preview of the. Maybe you guys aren't on the
Last
exclusive
thing I got
preview
from
list.
Kelsey Lynch was in October of 2025.
yep,
About a couple
I got that
forum.
same one.
I got town crier on the 28th, so 26th.
This isn't like town crier. Literally, the headline is "Save the date."
Save the date, could have gone right to my spam.
At the
That's what I'm
bottom.
checking.
It's-
Yeah, I got it.
Went to your spam.
Yeah, went to some other, whatever.
Well,
I've never seen her emails before.
Yeah, I didn't get anything.
No.
well, it's the 28th from 10 to 11.
28th of?
It's the 20th of February.
No, I didn't, that's not my spam.
No, it's not.
Anyone know how we get in the town crier?
Just email town clerk's office. I mean, the town manager's office.
Okay.
That's where we're able to do stuff for open space committee. We managed to let the town manager's office know.
Anyone part of like Stoughton News on Facebook? I'm not part of that.
Stoughton enthusiast, that one?
I'm on Enthusiast, so I can post there, but I'm not on the rest.
Facebook news.
I'm not, yeah, I try and limit like my,
I don't do Facebook. I read Facebook, I never post, ever. No, I take that back, I do for the League of Women Voters, but not anything else.
okay, so I can post on that, town crier. Anything else we can do to publicly, like, say, hey, here's what's on your ballot. if you have questions, come talk to us. We'd love to talk to you.
There is like a Stoughton, it's like bulletin board or something, and everything Stoughton. There are a few other ones that you don't see much. I could post on any of those, just not Stoughton. So.
Okay. Sounds good. I think I'm only on Stoughton Enthusiasts.
I do put the league, which I haven't scheduled yet, the League of Women Voters will have a candidates forum in
Okay.
March. I have to find the date. And I can obviously put a graphic up about it.
Perfect. I think there's like a mom's certain page. I can ask my
Yep.
sister-in-law about. They seem active. Okay. I honestly, I don't even remember what changes we're making to the charter, so I'll brush up on that. I'm like, is there anything specific we want to hit at the topic? But I guess general, like, what we're putting on the ballot as a general summary. These are the changes we're making. Come and ask us your questions if you have questions. We're excited to, like, be updating the charter to reflect. And then I can explain, like, the process. Went through our committee, went to the select board, went to the town council, went to town meeting, went to the attorney general's office, and this is our last stop. Because I don't think people understand, like, how much it's vetted before it gets on a ballot. Okay. Anyone have anything else we wanna go over? Alright, so March 30th, 7:45 in this room. Meeting adjourned. Oh, actually, I need to call. I need to vote. Someone want to move to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those sustained? The ayes have it. We're adjourned. Thank you.